Hello, everybody, and look who's visiting all the way from California.
I totally messed up yesterday because I totally forgot my dear people, Debbie and Kevin and Jeff. We had made an arrangement for me to do their show yesterday. They wanted to talk about their event. It was on the books, and I totally forgot when I told you 1 o'clock. I might have been thinking of today, actually.
Well, you said Wednesday or Thursday, and then you wrote back, "Let's go Wednesday." So it's fine.
Thursday. Yeah, today's pick a card day, so I'll be busy from 3 on.
Yes, today's felt like Friday all day long.
Yeah.
Uh, I when I posted the thing about Linda, this is what I had put up. This A glimmer is a micro moment of happiness. Once you begin to look for them, they will start to appear everywhere, and I think that's part of what coming into our community does for us is it gives us a chance to look at those glimmers. And now, I mean, the last 3 weeks has been like a snowstorm of glimmers.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to talk with your son, and it's just blowing up right now.
Oh yeah, I think most people who watch my channel know it, but CLSB um, politics, Charles Lawrence, Sean Briscoe politics. That's my son, Sean, and he's been with Linda. You've been very generous with your time, you and Andre and Sheila, and he comes over and visits me occasionally, but because I don't do politics that much, and man, because it's so hard when I'm around him to not get so over my head
Ah,
in
was
politics.
he
I mean,
always that smart, even when he was little?
well, he's been doing this since he was little. He doesn't remember it, but he was sitting on the floor of a friend's house when he was in preschool, putting stamps on postcards opposing an adjustment they wanted to do to the Trinity River. I mean, he's been around it his whole life, just like I was. So, it comes naturally.
Yeah.
But
Could you tell the story again about that gentleman
yeah,
you just told me?
yeah, Frank Luntz. He, for those of you who don't know him, but he's a legend in the Republican politics. He ran focus groups, and he would figure out how to take things that Democrats were doing, and he would change. He'd deal with these groups, and he'd learn how to word it so people found them objectionable. He's a real jerk. I mean, if you're from my side of the thing, he's a real jerk. But today I heard him interviewed, and I called Sean immediately and said, "You got to hear this." He has he's been doing focus groups for 40 years. He's got a line of people. If you've never done a focus group, and you ever get an opportunity to, whether it's politics or products, it's great fun.
Yeah.
And they go and they sit you down, they talk about the issues, and he cannot find a focus group that's valid for women who who are not committed to Kamala or Trump. But he can't find any. He used to be able to find independents that weren't going either way. He can't find any. And this is a guy who's been doing this for a gazillion years. These are the sorts of background stories that when you're in politics, you're going, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean. So anyway, we did get a few comments, and if you want to put a comment in, I'm telling you right now, if you want to put it in bold, please, because when I go through the comments, I can't see them. And this is the first one that came through. And I thought about this. I want nothing but the best for President Biden. How does he feel? She wants us to think about how he feels. Is he secretly a bit relieved? Oh, honey, it ain't a bit. It's a whole bunch. And does he know the American people love him?
Oh, he
And
knows it. Yeah.
he knows it.
I just saw him today speak with
Hmm.
about decreasing the prices of prescription. It's amazing. This United States of America pays the highest pharmaceutical. And you know who's that woman? I really like her. She's on. I haven't seen her in a while. Claire something from. She
Claire
lost.
McCaskill
She
from
sent me.
Missouri.
She was working in. Was it Congress when she was
Hmm.
working in Congress? She said it was nothing but a red wall against so the pharmaceuticals could have carte blanche.
Hmm. And what's sadder about that, Linda, that most people don't know is that our basic science, the FDA and the NIH, are all part of the place where they develop this stuff, and then they just take it, they patent it, and they don't pay anything back to the government for all the development we put in it.
Oh my God.
That's a real scandal. And then that drug gets sold all over the world much cheaper than here.
I know we're the ones that pay the highest price.
And we created it in the first place. Yeah. I trust me, I grew up in the medical world too, and I don't like that. Okay. Okay. This is just we can put down cards if we want. I'm sure this current energy people are experiencing has more triggers than glimmers. One day I got them and but one day she did get one and she turned around and saw couples behind her laughing and flirting. She got drawn to the positive energy. Tammy, hang on to that.
There you go.
Hang on to the positive energy. And yeah, trust me, the last 10 years have been one giant trigger. I'm surprised any of us have nerves left.
Well, when I read, I have a lot of clients. I got beautiful clients, people in the world that are just good people to the bone. But some people, they get something happen and they don't know how to get out of that. So they keep manifesting nothing but bad news. It's like, and then the dog died. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And it's hard because I have to tell them, stop, now breathe. Now look around you. What are you grateful for? Right. And start with that. Start with those glimmers.
And it can be grateful for anything that the mushroom soup I made turned out okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be some giant coming into your
news today.
What?
My ex-husband, the one that was horrible that I couldn't get out of here. I don't hate him. It was just really tough. He just wrote me. He's moved to Maine.
Oh dear, I'll have to warn Dorothy Morgan. She lives in New Hampshire.
He's moved to Maine. Good.
Well, it's like the time my ex took off, and this is how Sean ended up in Guam. I had my youngest child when Sean was 15, and my ex was incredibly jealous that I had another child. He really lost it. And he kept telling the kids, well, she doesn't need you now. She's got another kid. I mean, he was a real asshole. And I can say that with impunity because he's dead, because he can't come get me about it. Anyway, when I had the baby, he just got furious and friends couldn't figure out what was going on. All of a sudden, he up and finds a job in Guam.
And you guys moved to Guam?
And Sean came to me and said, Mom, I'm not doing anything in school, which was pretty much true. Sean's severely dyslexic, and the schools here were not working with him.
No, they don't.
I figured better to be in a small place like that. And, so I kissed him on the cheek and I said, you're your dad's now, and he's got to take care of you. So I had Casey, my daughter, which was Sean's sister, and Sean went to Guam when he was 16, and he lived there till he was 30. And then his dad deserted him a year and a half after he was living there, but he kept sending him money so he had a place to live and stuff. And then Sean put himself through college, and then he started writing policy papers for the legislature in Guam, which is an opportunity he never would have had here. So and he found when they got him in school in Guam, what would happen is I'd get Sean in the special ed he needed, and then his dad would come in and say, there's nothing wrong with my son. So, and Texas is really weak about making parents take care of their kids that way. So I had taken Sean. I knew exactly what was wrong with him. We knew exactly what the cognitive problem was. And I had a whole stack, big of papers from doctors. So Sean moves to Guam. And of course, Guam gets kids from all over the world. So it gets kids with all levels of skills.
Yeah.
And so they tested him when he went to the high school, and they called his dad in, and they told him, your son is really brilliant. He's got an eidetic memory. He can remember anything you say to him, but he can't read. And he cannot read complicated information. And we're not sure if it's affecting his writing. My ex looked at the principal and said, did my damn ex-bitch wife call you and tell you this? And the principal said, no, but if she knows anything about it. So all of a sudden one day out of the blue, I get a phone call from Guam, and it's the principal. And he said, can you send us all the materials you have about what's wrong with Sean? And I said, gladly. So I packed it all off to Guam, and they put him in English as a second language because Sean had never, this was the missing gap. He never learned to read phonetically. And so he couldn't read words. I mean, he couldn't figure them out. He couldn't decipher them. So they put him in English as a second language with all the students that had come into Guam that from all over the world that didn't speak English hardly at all. And in a year, he went from being functionally illiterate to being ready for college.
Oh my God, I love it.
So
Texas was that bad, huh?
well, when your kids are in a product of a divorce, they just kind of go, well, you got divorced, that's your problem. I mean, and I was a working mother in the 1980s, and they didn't like working mothers. So it's a long story. They kind of all, it's like J.D. Vance ran the place. Okay. Okay, this is a person who wants some thoughts from us. She loved the thumbnail. She loved the thumbnail about glimmers. My question is, has Trump been cautioned to stay out of the limelight due to chatter concerning Iran and others that they're plotting something?
Oh yeah, but he's not paying a bit of attention.
Yeah, I know. I don't think he is either. I agree with you totally.
I don't think I think they also want him not to talk so much.
Oh, his side, if they could figure out a way to muzzle him. They may be undermining him because there's a guy named Noel Castler, and he worked on The Apprentice. He was part of the crew.
Oh, yes, he's wonderful.
Yeah. He says that Trump has a bridge in the top of his mouth because of his drug use. There was a hole. And and I was talking to a friend of mine who's a speech therapist, and she said that could explain the slurring and the Sylvester the Cat voice.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think
back in the day, he was a big coke whore.
Oh yeah. Okay, and this one's more for you, Linda, because I don't deal with dead people in dreams. Lately, I've been seeing dead people in my dreams. I presume they're people she knows. She knows they're dead.
People I knew in their life.
Mm-hmm. Why are they showing up?
Well, sometimes it's not necessarily showing up to give you a message. Sometimes your psychic energy is easy for them to come through to say hello.
Mm-hmm.
I've dreamt about a lot of famous dead people. I see dead people all the time. But it doesn't necessarily mean something specific unless it's like a mother or a father or a brother or something like that.
Yeah, I'd start with hello and then see what else they say.
Yeah.
I've never had any entities, not the elementals that work with me or anything. When they show up, if I say, okay, why are you here? They'll just start telling me.
Yeah, I don't think I've said why you're here. I know I saw my mom once. And there was someone else, a neighbor of mine that had died, Warner, and he was a nice guy, and he was sitting on the couch and he was glowing. I said, Warner, and they don't speak back.
No, you hear it.
And they say, try not to speak with your verbal self.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember leaning over and hugging him, and then I said, oh my God, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah, the only person I've ever had come to me like that was my dad, and he didn't come in a physical form, but he was an anesthesiologist, and he smelled like the stuff they used to put you to sleep. The that kind of odor that you get in operating rooms.
Yeah.
I knew, when he'd come home from the hospital, he'd hug us, then he'd go up, take a shower, and get it all off of him. But I just said, oh, Daddy, you're here. It's when I was living in my house. And I said, and I just felt all warm and glowy, and he didn't say anything else. I just could smell him.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm. Okay, we don't have too many more. I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot lack of focus lately. I'd appreciate your insight and guidance in this phase. Thanks for any advice. Well, fine in Phoenix. Right now, these next few days are going to be killer. The full moon we're coming up to, we've got, Linda, not only are all those planets on 27 degrees, but, and the moon's on 20.
I don't know what that means, but go ahead.
Well, they're 20. Well, things will be on your chart at 27 degrees. As a matter of fact, my ascendant is 1 degree away from where all these things are coming together and going. And my Saturn is on my, if you look at the chart, my Saturn's at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's in the midst of all this. So yeah, I've been feeling it. It's been crazy. So, and I know it's a lot of big messages. It doesn't mean anything awful is going to happen to us, but this is really a time because of some of the squares. Saturn and Jupiter square in a pattern, and there's going to be 4 of them before the next summer. And when they get together, Saturn restricts, Jupiter expands. So this is where you need to go find a good astrologer. Andre's a very good one. Dorothy, my friend, is also a very good one. They can tell you where that might be hitting on your chart. And in my case, it's hitting in home and family is the one that's at the point. And I'm having to make some decisions about, dealing with family and things.
Okay.
So
But what's causing the anxiety?
her anxiety.
Vibrationally, just the universal pulse is changing. We're going into a higher dimension. My guides have been very clear about thanking all the workers out there who are trying their best to not fall in that hole of, oh, things are terrible, and say, no, I don't accept this. Things are going to work out good, because vibrationally, look at how Kamala took off.
Oh, I know. And we're going to have so much. We haven't had joy in so long, but that's
This
part
is
of
joy
it.
that's coming.
And fine in Phoenix, I don't know what your ethnic origin is, but if you're Irish like me, whenever anything good would happen, the older people would always say, but what'll happen tomorrow? I mean, live with that haunted. What's going to come get me tomorrow? But, and it really, sometimes you can feel more anxiety from the big planets if they're sitting right on top of you. Some people can just flow right through it and doesn't bother them at all because it's not.
We have hope now. We have hope because even who's the gentleman that put Biden in the front? He's
Clyburn.
Yeah, well, when he said if Biden steps down and VP Harris is the one, it's going to put us in chaos. Remember, he got frightened. And little did we realize, even me was afraid of Biden stepping down.
Oh, I sat there for an hour, and then finally my guides, I have a guide that's really close to me all the time, Addie, she patted me on the back and she said, let it go.
Well, listen, when I heard that he has stepped down, I absolutely felt peace. It was the weirdest thing. So I said, okay, there's a reason. And not only is she taken off, that Walsh guy is fantastic.
Yes.
People are excited about him.
Yeah, I saw a video today he did 6 months ago, and he was doing it to promote taking in a rescue animal, and their family rescued a cat named Honey. And this was 6 months ago, and there he is sitting in the mansion with this cat saying we should be rescuing these creatures. So
great. Do you think, can I ask you, I'm sorry, it's a political question. Do you think Trump will even make it?
I have real fears about that. That's why I don't go into his energy, because I have spiritually, I have a heart thing, and I can get arrhythmias really quickly. So, and I've managed to avoid them for 2.5 years. So that's one reason why I don't do politics, because it's really is heart stopping for me, guys. But no, he is falling apart so fast. And my second husband had a stroke, and but before he had the stroke, he started losing words and saying things weirdly and saying some of the stuff. He never said mean things, but just things that don't make any sense,
Like talking about sharks and electric.
Right. Well, putting together strange stories, although Bill would never have. Bill was a physicist. He never would have worried about batteries in the ocean. But no, it was odd. And we heard it in Trump before he even left office. My youngest child was 13 when her dad died. And she said, I remember that year before watching him I didn't want to think you talk yourself into thinking it's something else. He's just extra tired that day. He was in his early 70s, and why wouldn't he be tired? I'm in my mid 70s and I'm exhausted.
Me too.
So anyway, here we go. One more. Oh
We just
no,
did.
that's the same one. We did you already. So I just must have copied questions over twice, which is
But I
something.
just want you guys to know I see her winning, and I do see Trump walking away in the shadow of shame. So I don't know
Mhm.
what that means. We can't wish it.
But I tell you what I'm excited about right now is Ukraine.
I was watching some stuff on Ukraine, and I'm going to send you something. You guys, I can't put it on YouTube because it's got nasty language.
Mm-hmm.
My friend from Twin Towers, he
Mm-hmm.
he sent me the this psychic in Russia, and
Mm-hmm.
she's been saying from the get go, "Oh, Putin's going to lose this," and some bigwig said, "But we've got all these tanks and planes," and
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, Ukraine's going to use it for scrap metal.
Yes, and that's what they did. They tore them apart. You know, the Ukrainian farmers pulling those dead tanks into the middle of the fields, and
And let me tell you something else is they're wanting to say there was a guy I just posted on my Twitter feed that a
Mhm.
Russian guy, I felt so bad for him. No, nothing to drink or eat for 3 days. They just want them to take them. They want to go because they don't want to die for Putin.
That's right. You can't. We learned this, unfortunately, the hard way also in Vietnam. You know, you
Yes,
can't fight on someone else's soil what's not your country. You know,
exactly.
it doesn't work.
But they're going into Russia. That's what gets me. They
Oh,
really,
no, I'm so glad they are because as long as they stay out of Russia, Putin can puff his chest out and said, "We're not here." If it's Putin, I still am not altogether sure
me too.
that that's really Putin. But I tell you what, I've had on my desk.
Oh, he's threatening nukes again, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I have a friend who channels aliens, and they won't let them go off.
I've
Anyway,
I've seen proof that they stopped. They
well,
Chernobyl, they took up most of that radiation. There's a
yeah,
picture that was in the newspaper that they literally a ship went over the number 2 or number 3
mhm,
and sucked up that they said if it hadn't taken that radiation, everything would have been destroyed.
yep. And well, my friend, there was this thing, and it was in December a couple of years ago, and the European Astro- Astronomical Society, the astronomers, were saying they were seeing all these crafts over eastern Ukraine, and they were trying to figure out what are all those, and they were like, they weren't like typical airplanes, and they were wondering if it was because of the war and all the things going on, if throwing something up. Well, my friend who knows a whole lot more about this than I do because I made a deal with the universe. Don't put me in a spaceship. I
I
got
know you
that
did.
little body. I'm not going to a spaceship. And I called her up and I said, "You wouldn't happen to know anything about that?" And she just kind of laughed and she said, "Yes." But this is what I've had. I've had a set of stones like this, the blue and the sunflower, on my desk. I have 6 of them, 3 red, 3 yellow, and 3 blue, and they're on my desk. I can't do anything. They're right by uh, my mouse, and so when I walk in my office every day, you know, I send blessings and warmth to the people in the Ukraine. I in one of my past lives that I've been rather graphically through, I died in a bombing in London in World War II. So I know what it's like to run and to be afraid.
Yeah.
I don't I don't embody it anymore. But I tell you what, when I was a kid, every time they blew off those air raid sirens, I would have a complete panic attack. And
I
no
know.
one could figure out why. I mean, except that
Past life. It's like all of a sudden, and it's usually at the age that it started. So, like my daughter had a phobic about going over a bridge; she could hardly take it. But
mhm,
she had a past life where she died on a bridge, and then eventually it went away.
right,
Some people didn't get phobic about a plane ride until they were a certain age because that's the age they died in a plane
right,
ride.
right. Okay, on to the mundane, the things we're really here for.
Okay.
This is a lovely lady named Debbie, and she is working on her powers. She's working on her skills. She's really got some interesting skills, and she wants to know if she starts her channel on channeling next year, will it take off?
I see a lot of people around her. Either there are a lot of teachers that stand with her on the realm side because she's actually pretty good.
She is very good. She studies with me. She studies my garden. She studies how to read the Oracle Garden as another way to
Her
improve.
man in particular. But yeah, tell her to work with the people that are around her, people from the past, masters
Mhm,
that are encouraging her to do this because she'll help lift others. And that's the whole
mhm.
point in this universe.
And she's got a great story too about how everybody kept telling her to not be who she is. She wants to open up the door so other people can feel, their own power. Because they kept, I'm so contrary. They kept telling me you can't do this when I was a kid, and I went, stand there and watch. Okay, this lady would like to know about a message from her guides or her parents.
Nana.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a woman, definitely the mother. She has a lot to give energetically. She's connected to the realm. This is the highest realm card. It can be the highest money card too.
Mm-hmm.
Can mean winning the lotto, but it also means standing in spirit. Mom is very happy where she's at. The mom feels very happy where she's at. She's young again. She's twirling.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the mom and dad are together because I don't see the dad. Tell her not to think so hard. She thinks too hard.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to receive messages, but she interrupts herself because even when the message starts, she's like, did I really hear that?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you from the crystal realm what I got was strength and integrity. No, what is it? Truth and integrity. And you should be working with turquoise, a turquoise gem or chrysocolla, one of those blue, sky blue gems. That will help you a whole lot in connecting to her. But she just wants you to deal with life in your own integrity.
That's good.
And Linda Bishop, thanks. This community kept me going during these 9 years of Trump me. The 9 long years. Thank you.
Well, that ugliness was very appealing initially, but people are done with it now. And like my guide said, thank you to all of you who maintained that to finally get out of the fear because we were always kind of knee jerk. The only reason the media, which we stopped watching, is so, Trump did this, Trump stood here, is because it pays the bills.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is say, be gone. You have no more power here.
Well, the other part is to say the media. There is the old-fashioned media, there's the newspaper media, but there are no editors anymore. I mean, and what that is ultimately, and I did see a really interesting conversation about how energetically the media is dissolving. And that's what I was educated in. I was educated in broadcast film, and I lived in television when we had the fairness doctrine and those things, and you had real editors. But a good friend of mine was a newspaper writer down here, but he'd worked for the New York Times. And he was telling me how the exactitude, if you said a guy was 6'2" and you put that in your article at the New York Times, your editors would say, show me 3 sources that say that. I mean, they would.
The fairness doctrine.
Right. No, it wasn't the fairness doctrine. It was just they were that disciplined. But once we got into, everybody became a reporter, and to keep up with it, the whole basis of what held our media, the integrity of the media, it's going to have to be the integrity of each person. And that means it has to be your integrity if you want to follow it or listen to it. You have to listen to your own self.
I see that fairness doctrine coming back.
Oh, I do too. And all the fairness well, it's going to be interesting how they're going to do it, because the reason
they won't call it that, but it's something else. But it's almost like they're going to make sure you can't put total crap and know it's crap.
Yeah, because when they created television, which was in the early 50s, when they were licensing all the stations, for most of us, it's like there was ever a time when there wasn't television. Yes, I can actually remember it. But when they they said, but they're using the public airwaves to broadcast this. So that's why the government got in it. And they said, if you're going to broadcast, use our airspace to talk about that person, then you have to give the opposing point of view equal time. That's where the fairness doctrine came from. Then cable came along, and that happened during Reagan. And of course, they had been trying to get rid of the fairness doctrine forever. So I said, well, it's not fair if some of the media is coming through the air and some cable or private investments. That's when they destroyed the fairness doctrine.
Yeah.
And Bernie girl.
Bernie girl, it's about a new job.
A new job.
It's been sort of a struggle, but that's something she'll get to celebrate. Something coming up 5 weeks, 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
or 5 days.
Yes. And if it's a 5, it's going to be sudden because it's going to be a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be sudden. I got the tower, and it's not the tower. The tower is a fun thing. The tower, yeah, everything falls down, but it all falls down to build something new. So it's going to be real new, real interesting.
The tower can even be surprising good news.
Oh, I know. It's just it gets such a bad rap.
Yeah.
Okay. Alice Martinez, she wants to know what we can tell her about her next 3 months. I can lay 3 cards and tell you.
Okay. Her next 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
She's thinking about ending something or a new beginning. And here's God standing by her side.
Mm-hmm.
Evaluation, some major change.
Okay.
She's tired of the struggle. She's regrouping.
Mm-hmm.
She's tired of the struggle. What'd you get?
I got that you're in forward movement gardens. This is the tarot, but it's been put like a Monopoly board. And that's the 2 of Wands. So you're going to be meeting some people that are going to bring new ideas to you. And it's going to become in the form of 2 people. The Page of Cups, which is development of affection and creative energy. So this is really good. And development of new contracts. So yeah, you're clearly going to be moving into something really
something and moving forward and onto something.
right. And you're going to watch out for the people. Listen to what other people are saying to you, because the universe is going to send you messengers to help you get there. Okay. Okay. Julie Moon wants to know if we have a message from her husband, Rod.
Sometimes mediumship questions are harder for me to just get ad lib. It feels like he was really sick before he crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Something was very wrong. And may I say, he's happy to be crossed because he's no longer struggling.
Yeah.
And he's really, I don't know how long he's been dead, but he's sorting himself out with previous lives, past lives. And they're even giving him some accolades about who he was as a human being. Very happy.
Yeah. He's dead. But it was a huge, he's gone through a lot of huge changes since then. And he's waiting patiently for you.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. A lot of people don't stay together on the other side. Just because you were married in this life doesn't mean you're going to be with that person.
Yeah, I can't get rid of the ones I had before. So, getting lots of people saying hi. Yeah, and Joe said this is something we were talking about. You noticed the news coverage of the Felon Mellon's faux pas on the campaign trail. He's losing it. And
you know what? Try not to go like a cat recoiling. Just know it's probably good that we're all witnessing this.
Oh, yeah. And you guys, I've seen when candidates lose the faith of or lose the support of a group of people because they find out who they really are. Happens frequently in Texas politics because there's a whole bunch of them. But when the people finally, they have to see it pretty graphically, or some
Yeah.
people will hang on forever.
Some state legislator, Republican, I don't know if it was Texas, just got arrested for doing lewd acts in a store and exposing.
Yeah, he's somewhere in Texas. I heard that one. It's just like, oh, where we lost 4 pastors in a year in Dallas at mega churches that were playing around.
Well, every time I turn around, they're showing a mugshot of somebody who assaulted young children.
Mm-hmm.
Always a white male.
Yep.
I'm sure there's other nationalities, but they always act like it's the immigrants that did that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because they want, look over there. That's the guy who did it. Oh, Lindy, do you know anything about this? The Palm Beach mayor's discussing.
Yes, I read that. Is that going to be successful?
Oh, yeah, we can do that one.
No.
No.
It's going to be quite the fight, but it won't be successful. I don't think his lifespan is much longer. I really don't. He may lose this, and then that's when he goes downhill, but I don't see him lasting. I've been saying that. Remember, I even started this channel off saying that I saw him in a glass coffin.
Yeah, I remember you. Well, he is in a glass coffin.
Yeah, everybody's witnessing his fall.
Okay, let's see. Palm Beach mayor.
I got to tell you something. I posted.
He's going to go at it from a legal perspective.
Yeah, definitely going to fight it.
And there are overflowing emotions about the place.
Well, because the neighbors are tired of being everybody cutting off where they've divided it.
Right, and they're saying that they want it's going to be done for the power and prosperity of all the people in the area. So
yeah, but right now there's nothing done.
No, they're not gonna kick his butt out now.
Hey, I saw the funniest thing I have to tell you guys. There's a woman sitting on her porch, right? A younger woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's seeing somebody. Well, she's faking it. She's seeing somebody. She goes, "Why are you running? Why are you running? My God, where are you going? Why are you running?" And she picks up this huge bottle of vodka, huge, and she goes, "Geez, it's only 7:00 in the morning."
Oh, gee, oh!
I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, I pulled a cartoon off, and I use cartoons a lot for my thumbnails. They don't need to see another picture of me. And this guy's hunched down and clutching his guns and looking out the front window, and the Republican elephant's running around the back of the house holding his bags of his Social Security and his funds, and the elephant's screaming, "They're coming for your guns! They're coming for your guns!" Okay, I don't have a number on this yet, but I think, honest to God, Linda, do you remember the map on the night that Humphrey lost?
No, I don't remember anything about Humphrey. But
the only state that was up was McGovern's. Minnesota was the only state that voted for the Democrats. All the rest of it went Republican. I keep seeing that map. But I don't think Minnesota. I don't think it'll be Minnesota. I don't know what state will hang in there. Probably Arkansas, but maybe
or Alabama.
Yeah. You know what they say.
She's going to get 300 something.
Yeah, you know what we say in Texas. God bless Alabama, so we're not always 50th.
Or I think they're the worst in healthcare and everything else. Wait, Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee.
That's Sarah Huckabee, did you see the side-by-side picture of where all the kids were gathered around walls hugging him, giving him free lunches, and these kids in little suits and stuff standing around her while she's
with the most sad look on their face.
Oh, I know. Where
she's trying to feel that kids could go to work.
Right, and it's not just work. These are in packing plants. These are dangerous places. Okay, rock collector, we're going to tell you something fun. What's your message from your guides?
Rock collector. Well, she's a rock collector.
Ooh, you've got great stuff.
Oh, what do you say?
It's air, and it means moving forward swiftly. So you're ready to go. And Zephonite is a sort of quartz. You can just put quartz in for that, of a stone to use for that one. So what'd you get, Linda?
I got new beginnings, justice, judgment, connecting to the realm with wishes come true. Lighten up, girlfriend, because the show just got started.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm gonna check
She's
on.
ready to drop all the bull. And when you do that, you tend to go take off even further.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking up something. Someone said there's fires in Moscow. I want to see if that's true.
Somebody said a dam broke in China.
Yeah, they've been under a lot of threat.
There's been a lot of fires in Moscow. They're hitting everything.
In Moscow, it's at a military plant that makes and a shopping center. It was just evacuated, and that was 1 day ago, 1 hour ago.
One of their good planes, their really good planes, fell out of the sky, but it wasn't because
It wasn't because Putin shot it down.
it was because of poor quality of work done to it because they don't have the parts anymore.
Yep, it's on. I'm watching it on the French news.
Oh, listen, the UK, there was a pilot on there saying that they don't have enough F-15s, I think, pilots.
Mm-hmm.
He said if they would just, if the U.S. would say, okay, you guys, those of you want to go train them, you can go. He said, I'd be there in a New York minute. I'd train them all how to fly those planes.
And yeah,
What do you see? Because remember, I always saw Putin just sweating. Him and Netanyahu. I see them sweating, being chased out.
Yeah, I think, well, where's it going to go? Yeah, I mean, you can go to China and eat a bowl of rice every day. I mean, he's not, no.
He has all the underground places, but they will find him. Let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
And the same with Netanyahu. People are really not happy with him.
Oh, I read this and I was like, I don't think you're going to be president or VP unless your name's Kamala. And surely she's not in her. But it's about her union. She wants to know if we're going to get a positive card.
She wants to know if she's going to be president or VP. It's a man initially.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe down the road, but right now it's a very powerful man. She could be VP, but not president.
Yeah. I think you're going to be in whatever role in your union is the soother of things, not the aggressor of things. I can read the male and the queen and king energy as anybody at this point. I don't always think they're male or female, but I don't see you as the aggressor. I think you're in the VP situation.
Hey, listen, what do you think of the Christian nationalist? This Joel Webbin was just on the news saying he despises democracy because it allows women to vote, which is very un-Christian.
Well, he can go stuff it up his butt.
He's talking in the wrong decade. It's not going to go.
Well, Alito, who's younger than you and I, he marched on his campus to take the vote away from women when he was in college, which means it had to be in the 70s and 80s. Are you kidding me? Okay, and we've got people commenting on how hard it is. Sean's dyslexia really only goes to words. He can do anything with numbers. That kid is incredible.
He's really good with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of my son, Jacob. Very mellow, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob is extremely smart, and he knows something about everything because he's pursuing information. If I mention this planet, he knows about planets. He's not an astrologer. May I be honest? He doesn't really believe in any of this.
That's fine.
He doesn't cut me down, but he's just like, yeah, whatever. But he has never touched alcohol or did drugs in his whole life because his father was an addict and he didn't want to ever do it. His other brother too. But both these kids, my God, Jeffrey was just a little boy. And I mean like a toddler with diabetes sitting in Kaiser writing out Kaiser Permanente.
Mm-hmm.
just by looking at the word. Now, there's not a lot of kids that can do that. And Jacob
No.
was in what do you call the ones that are special? They didn't have money to give him anything special, but the ones that are smart. And he reminds me, Sean reminds me, because he's just kind of knowledgeable about everything. And then when he told me you were his mom, I said, aha, I know where he gets that from.
Yeah, and my youngest, who's a cybersecurity encryption specialist,
Wow.
could read when she was 3. I mean,
Wow.
the school said she would go to Montessori for half days because we ran a business together, and we'd swap out taking care of the other half of the day. And we showed up one day and they said, she's reading.
Isn't
And I
that
said, and they showed me how they could see it. And they said, do you know why? Well, she always had a computer to play with. And she had a lot of little things that were word games and stuff. We had no idea how much of it she was absorbing.
isn't
But
that
when she was 4 and we went to England to visit my husband's family over there, she would sit and read the newspaper on the floor. And they were just surprised. They said, yeah.
Well, my daughter, speaking of things, I'm going to brag about my daughter. My daughter, I took her to her 2-week appointment. She was just 2 weeks old. I said and I was trying to breastfeed. I said, her 2 bottom teeth are coming out. And the doctor said, no, honey, that can't be. And when he did her bottom lip, there was those 2 little white shiny teeth.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
She was ready to eat grub. She was like her mama.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going for the real meat. Jolynn, your business, will it be successful? I'm going to pull a card for you.
Oh, hi, Jolynn. Girl, is that your picture? What was she trying to be sexy?
I have no idea what she's doing.
Ooh, hell yeah.
But I see strength. I think you've got what you need. Yeah.
You do good, girl. Look at that picture of Jolynn.
The one that we kind of got into astrology. Her sun is at 28 degrees of Scorpio. So your natal sun is right in making squares to Jupiter, Uranus, and Saturn on this full moon. Her, fine in Phoenix. I don't know your chart, Linda. I just.
I'm a boring. What am I? I'm a Virgo, and Andre's done my chart, and I think I'm a Virgo rising too. I can't remember if it was Libra. I have a Libra moon.
Oh, that's a good moon, though.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a nice balance moon. Yeah, Andre.
Venus. I know I have a Leo Venus.
Yeah, the first time I read with Andre, he did my chart, and he goes, and I was telling him that I didn't do it on purpose, but the day I decided to dye my hair purple, it was the day that Uranus went into Taurus, which is my sun sign. He said, I couldn't think of a more Uranian thing to do.
He laughed so hard when I told him. So what's going on? Is Uranus in what's that funny statement I posted in Gatorade? Is Uranus in Gatorade?
Yeah, no, it's Mercury in Gatorade.
Mercury in Gatorade and something else after that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your.
Oh, thank you, Suki.
And
so you're a Taurus, so I'm a Virgo, so we get along good.
Oh yeah, yeah. My daughter's a Gemini, but all of her ascendant is in Virgo, so she's very detailed oriented.
Hi everybody. My friend David showed up here. Sharon's here.
Mm-hmm.
Water Lily's here. Jolene, Leah, Lemon Drops. I like that, Lemon Drops. That sounds very refreshing.
Yes. I just get a garden in my name. I had a vision once of working with young men as a spiritual guidance counselor, helping connect with them. Will this come to pass in my life? I'm not sure.
Well, working with young men's, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And that's really one that if you've had a vision that pushes you that way,
it usually means it's going to come true.
Yeah. Meditate on that vision and see where it carries you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to come true.
That's where your soul's supposed to be.
Okay.
Okay, we're got one more.
Okay.
Mimi, how are my parents doing in heaven? They love it.
Well, Mimi,
They're fine.
they're always fine. But it's interesting. We as humans, if we knew exactly, and I've seen where they go. If we knew exactly, we wouldn't even. We'd be like, oh well, I'm gonna miss you here, but I'll see you again.
Yeah, they're not far away. They're within the realm of the energies we
They
live
can
in.
hurt you when you think of them and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel they're both fine.
Yeah.
And they appreciate the love you show for them too, by the way.
Yes. Yes. Well, do you have anything to wrap up with, Linda? Because
No, but I got to call your son because I want to do another show.
okay, he's waiting for you.
Okay.
He,
We'll probably do it next week. I am going to be on with Andre tomorrow at 1:00 on his show.
good, good. I love working with Andre. He's so much fun.
And he's so interesting, you know?
Yeah, and we don't do politics. He and I. That's why I
You
send him.
talk about astrology. That's
We
great.
talk about spiritual matters and how to take your how to use a chart. I mean,
Right.
using a chart it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's not that hard.
But
And
I'll
I
tell you
have,
something, girlfriend, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. You've kind of got to talk about politics if you want to get anywhere on YouTube.
yes, because someone said to me one time, if you talk politics more often, you'd have a lot more subscribers than you have right now. And I'm like, that's fine, but they can go to a lot of other fine people. And that's why I'm so delighted Sean's on it, CLSB Politics, because he can answer your questions. And you're hearing my voice when he's answering your questions. Because
I could feel, I was shocked you were his mom, and then it made total sense.
ask him about his palm. When he was little, he used to go to psychic fairs where I was working, and I used to just let him loose, and he'd go around and visit all the vendors. Sean has stars all over his palm.
Ooh. What did they say? What the palm people say?
They'd send it back and said, "Do you know that's on there? I have two." But his hand is like you hold his hand up and you see these little stars all over. The 5-pointed stars. They mean power. They mean he's been here a bazillion years. He's a 22 life path.
Okay.
So,
I have a very interesting arrow.
Is it pointing towards a specific finger?
It's pointing towards the what's that line here?
Oh, that's your heart line.
That's where it's pointing. Maybe that's when I die. I don't know.
There's a reader, and I will not tell you her name, but she and I did a couple shows on palmistry, and she got into palmistry because she doesn't have a lifeline.
For real?
Yeah, she sent me a picture of her hand. She doesn't have a lifeline.
That's so unusual. Maybe
And
she's
so, I don't think so.
okay.
She looks pretty earthy to me, but yeah, she said that's what got her interested in kind of hanging out with the stuff. I mean, the best way to get into what we do is to start with where you are.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a lifeline, then go learn palmistry, because you're going to be an exception. If you're like me, I just knew things. I just always knew. And I used to talk. I remember I got disciplined severely a couple times. I was talking with this lady, and we were talking about some zoo that I said I'd gone to, and we talked about, and it's a zoo that has very unusual fixtures in it and animals. I mean, it's very, very distinctive. And it was when we were on vacation, and she talked to my mother. She said, "When did you guys go to the zoo?" And my mom said, "We've never been there." And the woman said, "Well, your daughter knows all about it." And my mom spanked me. And the woman went, when she saw me crying later, I said, "I can't talk to you because my family never went to the zoo." And she picked me up, and she carried me into the cabin where we were renting And she told my mother, "You shouldn't have done that to this child. She was there. There's no way she could have told me." Either she was there now or she was there before, but she was there, and you should never ever uh, punish this child because she can see things. And I think the woman must have known about seeing things. But anyway, my next show will be a Sunday morning with Scott. We'll be doing politics on spiritual innocence. If you subscribe to my channel, if you hit the little notice, you'll get notifications about everything I do. And I have a show at least once a week where I read either the cards or my oracle garden, and it's all personal questions. It's all what's going on around you. I do personal readings like Linda does, and
I don't do readings anymore, so
okay.
I can refer you now.
Okay, refer them to me, and I build these.
I know.
This is the grid that yes, Linda has hers. I remember putting that together for you. I did this one because Tim Walter, who is an earth energy person, and he teaches house clearing. He works with ley lines. He's from England. He said to me when we did a show together, "Why don't you build a grid for the world?" And I said, "For the world's energy?" And so Jeffrey Ripecolor picked the Merkaba. Dr. Gale picked Heart, which is the green. And then I built it. And on New Year's 2 years ago, Danny and Jeffrey and Dr. Gale and I all got together on New Year's Eve because it was too late for Tim to come be with us. And we blessed it and we fired it up. And it's at my house. I can't figure out where to send it.
Wasn't I involved with something like that at one time?
Yes, you've been at things where we were putting grids together.
Okay.
And on 8-8 Lionsgate, the 8-8 where they busted Trump's Mar-a-Lago, I was having dinner with Sheila and Debbie Freebird.
You were?
Yeah, in Colorado. I went to Colorado. I was visiting a friend of mine. We all met and had dinner. And I brought a bag of stones, and everybody picked a stone, and then they placed it on the grid. And then I read the grid and said what I saw about it, and everybody got to take that stone home, and that's there.
Oh wow!
The connection to 8-8. So, yeah. Oh, someday I'll meet you, Linda.
Yeah, we'll get together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you and your son. Now, where are you living right now?
I live in Dallas.
Oh, I go to Dallas to see my cousin.
Oh, well, let me know when you're here.
I'll come down and I'll treat you. And is Sean in Texas too?
Sean's in Dallas, but he tends to end up being where he's really running the campaigns. So his next stop is Wisconsin.
Yeah, but after all this madness.
This is. Mm-hmm. If you come down here, we can do something. We can do a little meetup.
Okay.
I've got 2 places. I got a wine cellar that says anytime we want to do one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anyway, well, thank you for everyone who came, and thank you, Linda, for being here. And have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm sorry I forgot you got